I bless your computer, my child. Emacs started out as an extensible text editor I wrote and became a way of life for many users because it had been extended so much they could do all their computing inside Emacs. And then it became a church with the launch of the news group, alt.religion.emacs, which you might be amused to visit. Today, in the Church of Emacs, we have a great schism between several rival versions of Emacs. And we also have saints, but fortunately no gods. Instead of gods, we adore an editor. To be a member of the Church of Emacs, you must recite the Confession of the Faith. You must say, there is no system but GNU, and Linux is one of its kernels. Then, if you become a real wizard, you can celebrate that with our ceremony, the Fubar Mitzvah, in which you chant lines from the system source code. We also have the cult of the Virgin of Emacs, which refers to anyone who has not yet learned to use Emacs. 35, do I get 40? 35, do I get 40? I've got 40. Do I get 45? I've got 40. Do I get 45? Do I get 45? Do I get 45 euros to the Free Software Foundation to defend your freedom? Do I get? I've got 50. I've got 50. Do I get 55? I've got 50. Do I get 55? Do I get 55? 55 euros to the Free Software. I've got 55. Do I get 60? Do I get 60? I've got 55. Do I get 60? 60 euros to the Free Software Foundation. I've got 60. Do I get 65? I've got 60. Do I get 65? Don't laugh. This is what auctions are, you know. I've got 60. Do I get 65? 65 euros to the Free Software Foundation. Do I get 65? Last chance. Do I get 65 euros to defend your freedom? This is you're not the same. We don't know exactly what's in Chrome that is not in Chromium. But since Chrome is non-free, obviously no one should ever install it. It's bad. Chromium is free software source code, but I think it has some ethical problems. I don't remember what they were, but there are people working on a modified version to correct those problems. But then there is also Chrome OS, which is not the same as Chrome. Chrome OS is a rather peculiar GNU/Linux distribution. I'm not sure whether it's entirely free software. But what I do know is it's designed to push people towards software as a service, which you shouldn't ever use. What I also know is Chromos is designed so that the users cannot install the software. Now, you could install a modified version of Chromos, which would permit you to install software. Maybe that would be okay. But you obviously shouldn't use Chromos itself. Other?
How can we use a search engine if you can't use software as a service?
A search engine is not software as a service, because the computing you're doing is not your own computing on your own data, it's looking through somebody else's data. You see, most of the websites you can think of are not software as a service, but a few of them are. For instance, Google Docs is software as a service, because what you're doing is editing text or spreadsheets, and you're doing it on somebody else's server. There's a secondary feature for collaboration, but that's secondary.
like democracy, and we talk about Bush and Berlusconi and Obama.
Yeah.
I read on your website that you are close to the position of the Green Party, and I
Yes.
just want to know your point of view about the Pirate Party.
Well, there are different pirate parties in each country, and they have different positions. So I can only look at a specific party's position in order to think about it. The first one was the Swedish Pirate Party, and they have a specific position, and mostly I agree with it. But there is one little problem with a bad consequence for free software. You see, they say they want to reduce copyright to 5 years. I usually propose 10 years, but I'm not against making it 5 years instead. However, their way of doing this backfires, because what would happen after 5 years to a free program released under the GNU GPL? When the copyright expires, the protections of copyleft would disappear, and proprietary software developers would be free to take the code and put it into their proprietary programs. Now that would be okay if it worked the other way also. What happens to a proprietary program that was released only as an executable after 5 years when the copyright expires? We won't be able to use the source code from that proprietary program and put them into our free programs. So this, you see, it hurts free software to the benefit of proprietary software. And that's what I object to. I said to them, please fix this consequence. Now, there are several different ways they could fix it with small changes. One is require anybody commercially releasing proprietary software to put the complete source code in escrow. And when the program goes into the public domain in 5 years, that source code will be released in the public domain. That way, all programs from 5 years ago will make their source code available for everybody to use. And at least it's fair between free software and proprietary software instead of being unfair to free software. The other solution is make copyright last longer when the work gives some additional freedom to the users even during the time it's copyrighted. So, for instance, if a work is free, the copyright might last 15 years. If a work is just shareable, well, no, actually, according to that's a mistake, because their